We're going to get started here in a second. Just setting up a couple of other things. I'm going to test out the stream here. And what we're doing today is we are creating a review management business. This is going to be a business where users can do different things like track their reviews, respond to reviews, run reports on their views. But the main money making service behind this is going to be to allow people to get rid of bad reviews, and we're going to charge people a certain fee for getting rid of those bad reviews. But that is this business. Let's see here. Let me test the stream out here, and then we'll get started. Um, but how we are doing that is okay. That sounds good. Um, how we are doing this is with a software package called ProVibes AI. And what is ProVibes AI? This is a task management software for AI. It essentially gives AI a blueprint on how to build software. And why would you want something like that? Well, you want something like that because with a lot of different software like Cursor, and there's a lot of different software packages out there like Cursor. Um, there's things like Roar. There's things like Base 44. Cursor, obviously. Google has one called Anti Gravity. And with these software packages, if you just give a AI system a prompt, like let's take a look at this one right here. You were just to give AI a prompt. Here's a prompt that we built out using Grok, which is just a long explanation of the software you're trying to create. Here in ProVibes, we've also got chat functionality. And with this, if you go to the config, you've got access to all these different models in one interface, including OpenClaw, which you have probably heard about. It's all over the AI community right now. I'm going to add Opus and Sonnet 4.6 after this stream, but you can come in here and bring up one of my chat history. So this is the PRD of what we are trying to create right here. Product requirements document is what that stands for, and it's a reputation management platform, like I just discussed. And these are all of the different pieces of this software. Now, if I were to just copy and paste this, and hang on one second, I'm gonna send this stream to somebody. Let's see here. Share this. All right. There we go. And so if you were to just copy and paste this prompt and put it into a system like Cursor, essentially what you're asking Cursor to do is just take all of this information and start building out the software. And it's just a very inefficient way to do it. It's going to be very hard on the AI. There's a lot of things that the AI will do wrong, like building things out like the user data table, and it just produces very poor low quality results when you try to do it like that. So what ProVibes AI is it is a project management software to where we are building out the step by step instructions for the AI so that it can take it systematically, accomplish one goal at a time. And for each one of these, it's got a very clear set of instructions to do all of the different tasks, subtasks, and then the subtasks right here that we see. In the description, it's got all the instructions. So, how are we building out this task management right here? Well, we're doing it with what is called a MCP server. And an MCP server can be implemented in Cursor. These all right here are MCP servers. ProVibes AI, it has its own MCP server. You can see I've got them for Notebook LM, Hostinger, which is what I'm using to run OpenClaw, GitHub, AWS, Asana. I've got quite a few different MCP servers configured in here. So in this chat right here, what I am doing is I am currently building out these tasks right here that you see so that I can create this software. The first task is going to be the project setup. Also within ProVibes AI, I'll take you over here. You've got this overview tab right here, which is the project specifications for what we're trying to build here. And this would be a situation where you would go into let's say Cursor, you would copy and paste the PRD, the big long PRD right here, and you would say, okay, I want to create a new project. This project is going to be this right here, and then what the MCP server is going to do because it has a tool. The MCP servers, if you're not familiar, they have different tools that can do different things. And so this one has a project create tool. And when you feed it the big long PRD, it's going to create a project, and that project is going to have all of this information right here. So all this information right here, I did not type this out. I did not do this. The AI system actually did this. What I did is I came over here to the chat agent and I copied it and pasted the big long PRD that I got from Grok right here. But you can do it with the chat interface from the beginning. I mean, this is the prompt that I used right here, and I could have just used this same prompt in the chat interface. Um, but anyways, I copy and pasted. I said, rewrite this prompt. Okay, now that I've got this big long PRD, then I come over to Cursor, or you can use Google Anti-Gravity. You can use VS Code with one of the extensions that they have. And I just said, okay, here is the project that we are building out. I want you to create a new project within ProVibes AI. And so that is what actually created this project right here. And this is the overview. It's got all kinds of different information. It's got a description of the project, it's got the core features, the tech stack. We're going to be using Next.js with SupaBase database. We're also going to be using React and Expo so that we can turn these into mobile apps very easily. Target platforms, web, iOS, Android. Deployment, we're going to use Vercel, which looks like this for the deployment. And let's see, what else do we have here? We've got our monetization methods. We've got our target audience, the external APIs that we're going to use, the UI design, and we'll add some design examples when we really start working on that aspect of it. And then we've got an overview of our two current tasks right here. Within this, you can also generate the PRD, the architecture, the dev blueprint, which we will take a look at later. But let's see here. So we've got our two tasks right here. We're just going to continue to build out the tasks for this project. And if you have never developed software before, you have no idea what any of this is. This ProVibes AI is a really good jumping off point. Let's say that you had an idea for a mobile app that you wanted to allow users to upload a picture of themselves and upload a picture of a famous person and then generate a selfie with that famous person, generate an image. And you've never created software before. You've never done any of this. in that kind of scenario, what you could do is you could come over here to new project. And then it's going to ask you a series of questions. Project identity, you can name it. And then for the project description, you can generate the description with AI. So you can come in here, it's already got a prompt configured for you, and then you would just enter in the description for your application right here. You would want to select software application, and then in this next step, you would say, yeah, we want to do web, we want to do iOS, and we want to do Android. And then, so this is where you have the front end technology, the styling solutions, all of that. If you never developed software before in your life and you have no idea what any of this is, you can actually click on this recommend framework right here. And that's going to open it up. It's going to have the description of your application that you created in the previous step, and it will generate recommendations for what kind of platforms to use, like Next.js with React and Expo. You've also got suggestions right here, like Next.js app router, Next.js page router. And again, if you don't know what any of these are, you can either come over to the chat interface and ask, or you can just use the recommendation buttons. But the reason that we build out these projects in this way is because not only is it going to give the AI a set of instructions on how to build this application, but it's also going to be a reference point for the AI as it's building out the application. So that if it wants to go back and reference some part of the application during the build, it is going to be able to. It's going to know that we're developing it with Next.js. It's going to know that we're eventually going to be using this monetization method. It's going to know the target audience when it's doing the design. It's going to know what kind of APIs we're going to be using, what MCP servers to be using. So again, the kind of idea behind ProVibes AI is twofold. It's giving the information the AI needs, and then it's also giving a step-by-step guide as to how to develop out the application. So we've got the project set up right here, and we've got all the subtasks and sub-subtasks for creating the project, which we'll go over here in a second. And that's just going to be setting up the application framework. And then the next step that we've got right here is setting up the SupaBase database and setting up the user data table. One of the other features with ProVibes AI is the ability to create templates. And why would you want a template? Well, with the majority of the applications I create, I'm going to do it with Next.js, or I'm going to do it with React and Expo. For the majority of the applications I'm going to create, I'm going to use Supabase. For the majority of the applications I'm going to create within that database, I'm going to create a user data table. And that user data table is going to have specific columns and qualities about it, which I can take a look at that. So with just about every single application, I'm going to create this user data table that you see right here. And every time a user registers to the application, they're automatically going to be put in this table with a trigger and a function. And it's going to have different columns for this database table. Um, like the subscription tier, like the user role, like a lot of the other aspects of this. So the reason that you would want these templates is because these templates show the AI model exactly how to do this aspect of it. I've got this description right here, instructions for creating the user data table, RLS policies. If you're not familiar with RLS policies, that is just security, so that people can't just access any row in the database that they want to and get people's personal information. This table stores user profile information, da da da. Now, what I have here is I have an attachment, and this is a skills file. And And what this skills file does, it goes into much more in-depth information about how to create these tables, how to create the columns, a huge amount of information. And the LLM, the AI, can access this file. I like using Cursor the most, but it can access this file when it's either writing tasks or it's executing the tasks. And because this is a setup, a configuration that I have for most of the applications I build, when I'm going through and generating the task list, I can just say, okay, for this task, take a look at this template and build out the task list for creating this part of the functionality. It's the same way with the Stripe subscription integration. How I integrate Stripe with all my applications to create the pricing page, to create the user roles, to create the recurring billing. Same way with Contact Us page. Throughout this kind of series, live streams, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to be building out additional templates. Because I'm going to use that in other applications that I create. So we have gone through all of that, the project setup. When I do finally decide to start creating this application, I'm going to come back over here to Cursor. I'm going to create a new folder, and we will use that folder to create the application. The current folder that I'm in right now is the ProVibes AI folder. And once you have the MCP server set up, which we'll go over in another video, you'll want to open a project folder, and you can do the same thing. Once you've got the ProVibes MCP server set up, you can start chatting with the AI and you can start building out these tasks. So we've got the first two tasks, project setup and application scaffolding, SupaBase database setup. And so what I can do is I can copy this project ID right here and uh, let's see here. So the next step that we're going to create is we are going to create the home page within the application. And so what I am going to do is say, again, misspelled again, but again, here's the information on the application we are creating. I gave it the project ID. And when creating the homepage, the other thing that I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to give it an example. This page right here is what ranks number one, besides the results like Reddit and some of these other articles. This is the first actual company page that ranks. And I don't really like the design of this page. I don't like certain aspects of it, as far as them not having, a clear price on what the services cost. But I do like the fact that it's ranking at the top of the search engines. So that's exactly what I'm going to tell the AI here. So I'm going to say, and I'm going to use the, let's see here. I'm going to use the microphone going forward for these, but I'd already started typing. So I want to use the content of this page and as an example for content because it is ranking at the top search engines. I don't really like the design, but the content is good. Um, and so what I want to do next is I want to come back out here and I want to look for a page that I like the design of. So this is an advertisement, but let's see what this page looks like. Online content removal, get a free quote, and oh, my keeps doing that. Reputation repair services. Let's take a look at this and see what it looks like. No, that is just absolute garbage. Remove bad reviews. That's Google. Or let's see what the next page looks like. These are just garbage, but that's a good thing. That means that we can put something together that will look good. Okay, I do like Bird Eye. I have seen Bird Eye in the past. This just looks like a advertisement landing page. But I kind of like the design of this. So I'm gonna copy this link, come back here. Uh, Here is an example that I like the design of. And let's see what else we got here. Potential marketer, Movify again. One of the good things is that it looks like there's not a whole lot of competition. I mean, I see a lot of articles up here, but I don't see a whole lot of competition as far as the actual services, which again is a good thing. Wow. Okay, so let's try reputation image. Let's see what this one looks like. Reputation.com. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, yeah, I really like that. Okay, so I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to say um, use the features discussed in the project overview to briefly describe the other features of the application after um, after discussing the main um, services of this application, which is negative review. The pricing is going to be straightforward. It will be $299 for each negative review. Okay. So we're going to just build out the task, subtask, and subtask for creating the home page and adhere to this skill. Okay, that'll give us a chance to talk about skills. So we're going to reference this task writing skill. And while that's creating the task, we're going to take a look at what skills are. So if you're using Cursor, you're going to have a dot cursor folder, which will have things like rules. I always put a plans folder in there when I'm creating plans for different functionality. But the skills folder is the one that I really want to take a look at. And there's huge libraries of skills. We're actually building out our own library for skills on ProVibes AI. We've got a pretty big library. I haven't published all of them yet, but we'll take a look at this Next.js as an example. And what this allows us to do is basically, like it sounds, give suggestions or teach an AI model how to do something. And so, what the actual skills look like is they're just a markdown folder. So, if I come in here and I go, well, let's take a look at the actual ProVibes skills. This folder, they look two different ways. With ProVibes, what we've done is we've got the skills folder and then we've got rules for all of the different functionality of the application. So task writing, task execution, um, and a bunch of others. But for like the task writing, again, it's just a markdown file, an MD file that gives a set of instructions or educates the AI in a very easy way for it to understand, which is markdown um, markdown code. And so it's just going to tell the AI how to do certain things. So when it's writing tasks, for example, it's going to write the tasks in a specific way. Um, and in a similar way, what you're going to be able to do with ProVibes is to reference these skills or download these skills into your IDE, into whatever you're using, Cursor, whatever it is. You'll be able to activate them, deactivate them. And so one is the Next.js expert, and it essentially tells Next.js how to do certain things when developing applications as far as design and other things like that. So that's just a brief overview of what skills are. You can essentially teach an AI how to do anything the way you want it done very quickly. And so if we come back over here, we can see that it has written out a lot of the tasks for the home page. I'm going to come back in here my templates. And so build homepage landing page. Okay, so yeah, it's got quite a few different sections for the homepage. We can drill down on any of these, the hero section, the CTAs. And so yeah, looking pretty good so far. Um, Now, as far as the AI model I'm using within Cursor, I'm using Opus 4.6. Opus 4.6 and Claude Sonnet 4.6. Those are going to be two of the more expensive models, but they're going to be really good models. You know, for writing out these tasks, I could probably use something lower. I could probably use Sonnet, or I could probably use like Google Gemini Flash. But I'm just gonna go ahead and use it for the purposes of this tutorial. So we've got our task lists written out. Looks good. And you know what I'm actually gonna do? I'm actually going to test this. So I'm going to use Sonnet for this next one. And I'm not going to do it on this live stream, but I'm going to do an analysis of the tasks that have been written afterwards using the different models. And you can switch back and forth from them. It's got the context of the chat and it's not really going to mess anything up. So let's see. All right, so here we are. So the AI model has the full context for the project that we're trying to build out. It knows exactly what we're trying to do. Um, so now what I'm going to say is, let's see here, come back up here. Knowing the context of the project and what we are trying to build, what do you recommend the next task to create to be? And we'll go ahead and send that off. See what it says. I'll check my text messages. Okay. And let's see here. Okay, so it's going through. Based on where we are in the build, I'd recommend task 4 being pricing page stripe integration. Okay, that sounds good. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come back over to my templates and I am going to copy this template ID. I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to say that sounds good. Make sure to reference this template when writing the tasks. Yes. Yeah, my mouse is. We need to get a new mouse. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. And so this part right here, I'm gonna get as many as of the tasks done for this part here in probably the next like 45 minutes. And then, we're gonna be turning these live streams into a set of tutorials that you can use to develop applications and reference applications. But if you have any interest in this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you get notified next time that we do a live stream. And so you can follow along with that in a couple of different ways. Okay, so now what it is doing, each one of these lines right here, it's accessing the MCP tool that we talked about earlier. Um, excuse me. And so it's accessing the create task tool when it runs this tool right here. And so we can come back out to the task list and we can see pricing page and Stripe integration. It's already created a lot of these right here. And so that looks pretty good. Um, So what I'm going to do while that is doing that, so I'm going to open up the chat right here. I'm going to take a look at the history. And so this is our software PRD. And so we've got our production version vision right here, target users. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually copy all this right. I'm going to come back into cursor. And you can have multiple agents running at the same time. And so I'm going to do a new agent and I'm going to say, I want you to recreate this PRD in the dot cursor plans folder. And I'll stop that. And so where we're going to put this is we're going to put this in the plans folder right here. And so I'm going to paste this PRD and I'm going to do copy row to path. I want you to recreate this PRD in the, we'll just type this out. And I'm going to say forward slash prd.nd, and we're going to go ahead and have it write this PRD out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to attach it to this project here, so that the AI model can access the markdown file as well. So let's see here. This, okay. So let's see here. Where are we at with this other running task? Okay, that is done. Okay, so it has created all these tasks. Okay, and so we're going to ask again, what do you recommend the next task we create to be? I don't know why it keeps writing thank you. Try to get some like background music or something for this live stream. Given where we are at in the project, here's my thinking. Immediate recommendation. Task 5, contact us page functionality. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Um, okay, hang on 1 second here. I'll be right back. Hey, what's up, man? Okay, I am back. Let's see here. While this is doing this, let's see here. Okay, okay, and it's got additional recommendations. So task 6, authentication. Okay, so the thing that I'm gonna do next is actually the authentication page setup. So I'm gonna say let's do let make the next task the authentication setup. Then the contact us functionality as per the template. And let's grab our template. Go ahead and create the task for the authentication. Let me check it and then then we will move on to okay. So now it's going to go through and start creating those. Um, let's take a look at our current task list. I'm going to close out some of these others. Um, Now, one thing that I want to talk about real quick too is all the rage right now is OpenClaw. And I'm finishing up a couple of things on it, but one of the things that you're going to be able to do is to access OpenClaw through ProVibes AI. It's a very easy configuration setup. The one thing that you do need to do is assign a custom domain to your installation of OpenClaw, because if you're just using the IP address, then it poses some security risk. But the reason that you would want to do this is so that, when you're on the go and you're doing things, if you're developing out an application and you get OpenClaw set up, you can actually be developed like, if you're sitting in line at the DMV, you can be sitting there on your phone on ProVibes AI, literally building out an application with OpenClaw, and with this chat interface. That I'll do a whole live stream slash video on that later. But that's one of the things that you are going to be able to do. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out for right now. We don't need that. Put that there. And so here's our task list. Okay, we've got our authentication. And again, not to be a dead horse, but the reason that you want to take time and plan out these applications and plan out the build for these applications, um, is because you can imagine if an AI one, it gives you a visual representation of all the different things that need to be done for the application. And if it builds out the tasks, after I'm done completely building out all the tasks, I'm going to take some time. I'm going to go through this and make sure that it's exactly how I want it to be. And if there's something that I want to change, I can just come back over here to cursor. I can give it the task ID and say, no, I want you to do it this way instead. Um, but the other reason that you want to do it this way is because you can imagine if an AI, if an LLM is just trying to take all of this information right here and trying to do it in essentially a one-shot process where it's just going to try to go through and create everything on its own. That's where you get what they call hallucinations. That's where you get really cracked code. That's where you get the code and applications that don't have the functionality that you want, or where the functionality doesn't work. But as the AI is able to systematically go through these different steps and processes and has the description for it, exactly what it needs to be doing, that's where you get really high quality results, for the application. The other thing that, is one thing that I really wanted, and why I built this out, is that you have a board right here, and you can take these different tasks and you can drag them over, and then what I can say is, okay, cursor, go through and complete all of the in progress tasks. And so it will go through, it will complete all of these tasks, and then using the provide skill for task execution, the same way we're using one for task writing, what it will do is after it has completed this task or subtask or sub-subtask, it'll move it into the review column. And then so what you can do is you can manually go through and you can say, okay, repository setup and template customization. I'm going to click out here and I'll get a reminder of what exactly was supposed to be done in this task. And if it is done, I can go ahead and mark it complete. It makes it very easy to go through and develop applications, tell Cursor or Anti-Gravity or whatever what to do, and then to go back and check and make sure that it's actually been done. Um, and I've developed out hundreds and hundreds of applications using AI, and really, in a perfect world, what I could do is, and maybe we will get there at some point, is I could take a PRD like this and I could just, one shot stick it into the chat interface right here. And the AI is going to be able to just go through and develop everything out in one shot. And, an hour later, I'll have a fully functional application that's perfect in every single way. But we are, in my opinion, a long way from being able to do that. A long way. And even if you were able to do it like that, the AI's idea of what you're trying to create is going to be a lot different than what your idea is. But with the systematic task list like this, you can make sure that your idea of what you want is as aligned as closely to what the AI is going to do. And you can also produce a lot better results from the standpoint that you're telling the AI exactly how you want to use how you want the user data table to be set up, how you want the pricing page to be set up, how you want the contact us functionality to work. And so that's the reason that we really go through and do this. Okay, so as we can see, it has set up all those tasks, and the next thing that we want to do, it had recommended first the contact us page. We did authentication first, and so now what we are going to do is the contact us page, I believe. Do we have that yet? Let's see here. Authentication. We need the contact us page. Okay, so once again, I'm going to copy this ID. Okay, now let's create the contact us. Just gonna put it, see what it does. Um, Now, usually what I do is for every single command that I give it, I reference the skill. Um, so I would reference task writing and then tell it what I want it to do. But I want to see if it's going to do that on its own, if it's going to access it on its own. So let's see here. What's next? What's next? Um, so it's going through and building out that. Oh yeah, I want to look and see what it had recommended for this. Let's see, task 7. Review removal submission flow. This core revenue feature of the app. After user pays $2.99 insurance in the workflow and actually submit their user. Yeah, that looks really good. And again, this is just incredible because this AI came up with this. This isn't going to be task 7, but paste that in here. That's the other thing that I want to mention is that for all of these tasks, it is automatically enumerated. And you can see that that task in the task list has been put in the in progress column. These are still in the to do columns, but as you add the tasks, they're automatically enumerated. So this one is 1, the subtasks are going to be 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and then the subtasks are going to be 1.1.1, 1.1.12, blah, blah, blah. And again, this is going to give the AI model a systematic flow of completing these tasks. So let's see here, where are we at? Okay, so it's still creating the tasks. So while it is doing that, one of the things that I wanted to take a look at is agent skills. Okay, so agent skills, this is an overview of skills. What are skills? Agent skills are like the biggest, hottest thing right now in the AI space. And a lot of that is because of OpenClaw, and that is how we can easily get AI to do things in the way that we want it. Okay, so specifications, integrations, what I am looking for is the actual skill repo. Vercel Labs agent skills. So Vercel, if you're not familiar, is the creator of Next.js, and they have a hosting platform that I use to host all of these different types of apps. This is my task MCP application that we're looking at right now, and these are all the different deployments. When we start building out this application, I'll review GitHub, setting up your repo, connecting it to Cursor, all that good stuff, pulling and pushing to the repo. Because the way it works is you have your repo, that is where you push your code to. That is for version control. That also allows, multiple different developers to work on their version of the application and then merge those different versions. And then also it allows you to do a production deployment to Vercel, or there's a lot of other hosting providers. I like Vercel the best. There's a lot of other features and functionality and benefits to GitHub, but as far as a repo is concerned, that is a overview of it. But this right here, this is agent skills, and these are skills that Vercel has put together. And things like React best practices, React native skills, web design guidelines. These are all really good skills. And so what I am going to do is I am going to add this one to our skills library. And the way I'm going to do that is skills marketplace here. There's a few different ways that you can add your own skills. If you come down here to settings and you go to my skills, you're going to be able to add a skill via a URL or just copy and pasting the skill. Let's see here. Okay. So you can browse marketplace, you can do add a skill, and then you can put in the name and everything of the skill, and then you can put in the URL. And the URL would be this right here, and that's going to be the actual skill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, come back over here, and the slug, that is how you're going to actually reference the skill. So when you see me doing the at sign task dash writing, that's the slug. So I'm going to name this next JS web design. And I'm going to make the handle just web design. And I'll write a description here in a second. Um, I'm going to do web line tags web line. And then for a description, I'm going to is a good description. No, actually, this is a zip file. Okay. Fetch guidelines before you review. Let's see what this is. Yeah, okay. Here's the actual file that we want right here. So we want this. And yeah, so here's the description I'm going to use. And then, this has all the information for exactly how to do best practices for design. and then you can submit that for review. And this is to add skills to our marketplace. Your skills will be automatically available to just you. But then what we're also going to allow people to do is to add their skills, add their skills to the marketplace, and skills, there's a whole ecosystem behind that, a whole way of making money. And again, we'll go over all this information in another video, but that's kind of the lowdown and dirty about skills. Okay, so I've referenced this task writing, and I'm not going to write the task yet. I'm going to say, uh, let's talk about this part of the application. Do not start writing the task yet. So, review removal submission flow. This is the core revenue feature of the app. After the user pays $2.99 via Stripe, they need a workflow to actually submit the review details. Okay. Um, what are your recommendations for this? Um, okay, well, that is generating. I'm gonna use the bathroom right quick and we'll keep going on this. Okay, wait 1 second. Okay, so let's see where we're at. Recommend scope for the task. That's just splitting this into two tasks rather than one massive one. Okay, it's good. Good suggestion. Okay, so removal request, multi-step submission form wizard, SupaBase storage bucket for evidence files. Good, good. Stripe checkout integration. Good. My removals. Very good. I like it. Task 8, admin review management. Okay. View all requests. I like it. I like it. Splitting this up. Let's do you want option B, details first, then pay? Or would you prefer a pay first? Okay, so now we want to answer these questions. Yes, pay first with actually, if we have them pay first, they're not going to know that, it looks like we're just trying to get their money. So Let's get the information first. Yeah, let's do details first because at least we can capture some of the information first. So if they fall off at any point in the form, we'll have like an email address. Details first with email address and phone captured regardless of if they fall off in the purchase flow. Okay. Should the form be a multi-step wizard form? Yes. Yes. With um, a database table update at each stage to capture as much information as possible. Do you want task 7 and 8 split up? Yes, let's go ahead and do that. Yes, split them. Okay, so that's going to start doing that. Let's see where we are in the task creation process. Project setup, SupaBase database setup, build homepage, pricing page, authentication page, contact us. Okay, and the AI is able to know all this and go all through all this information because this is just one big chat session and it's accessing the overview that we took a look at every stage. And so when I say what task do you recommend doing next, it's accessing this information and it's giving me really good recommendations as you can see. But this is just one really long chat string that it has the context of as we go to the next thing, next thing, next thing. So okay. Okay, so it's telling me now, perfect. Those decisions shape the architecture cleanly. Here's the approach before I build. Contact in the first step. Daily saves. 2 times. Okay. All right, that's all looking good. So it's creating those tasks now. And let's see what else we got here. Let's start looking at some other skills that I think that I am going to want to include for developing this project. Composition patterns. What's that? Okay, so this is another type of skill like the ProVibes skill where they have main skill MD file that is just going to be a reference to all the different rules files, component architecture, blah, blah, blah. Um, React best practices and React native skills. Yeah, so what I am actually in Claude AI, we're not using Claude AI. Okay, so what I want to do here is well, it's still Claude AI. So what I'm going to do here, so I'm going to take this right here, and I'm going to come back over. And again, remember, when we start building out this application, we're going to open a new folder to actually be building it out. I'm working within the ProVibes AI folder right now so that I can do a couple of things like what I'm going to do right now. So what I'm going to say is I want to integrate all of these skills except for Claude AI into the marketplace functionality of this application. And then let's see here. Do we have a skill set up for this yet? No. Oh, yeah, we do. Skill creator and skill import. So skill integration, imports, skill. No, skill creators. No, that's how we create skills. Actually, yeah, we do want that. And the reason that this information can be useful to you when you're developing out applications is because you're going to want to implement these skills. And one of the benefits of ProVibes AI is going to be able is that it's going to allow you to come into the skills marketplace, and it's going to allow you to activate these different ones. And then when you're building out the application, you can come in here and you can say my skills. You can do it one of two ways. One, if you're developing the application with something like OpenClaw and you're using the chat interface right here, what you're going to be able to do is you're just going to be able to reference the skill. You're gonna be able to say at da 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 da, and then that is going to go and grab the skill. You can see it's got different recommendations right here. So if you do like skill, you can do that right there. And so it's going to be skill, provide skill manager, and you can reference it like that. And then so what that's going to do is it's going to send that skill along with the request. It's going to send a URL and tell the AI agent to go and grab that file, and it will give it all those skills when it's doing its thing. Um, or what you can do here is you can come into your global skills. You can click this button right here, and you can send this along in a request as well. I haven't totally mapped out the exact way that we're going to do this, but it's going to make it a lot easier to just get access to all the skills that you need instead of having to download them into Cursor and doing it that way. It's just going to give it a URL to where the AI agent, the like if you're using Cursor, you can just say, "Hey, access this skill when you're doing this thing," and so it's going to go to ProVibes. It's going to get the information for that skill, and then it's going to go ahead and do it. As opposed to downloading all of these skills in here, I mean, you literally could have like 200 skills in your cursor development environment, and it's gonna be more confusing if the AI agent is looking through the entire skills folder, trying to figure out what skill to use for that part of the application, and then going through and doing the development, as opposed to being told directly, "Hey, use this skill." It's going to be the same as referencing it in the chat, like I have been doing, but it's going to clean things up exponentially for you. I'll do a complete video on that. So this is a significant task. Let me understand the full scope. I need to look at the existing skill infrastructure and fetch the versatile lab skills. Okay, so that's still doing that. Okay. Um, let's see here. What did I say here? I want to integrate all of these skills except for Cloud AI, Claude AI into the marketplace functionality of this application. Um, Okay, so it's doing it. It's doing it correctly. Okay, so the review management application looks like it has gone through and created these tasks. Mission flow. Okay, ready for task 8. Okay, so I'm just gonna say proceed. while it's doing its thing there, I'm going to come back out here. I'm going to look at the overview again. So the core features, review request tool. We'll go over that. Send automated review requests via email, SMS, or QR code. Customer review landing pages. So you'll have a landing page that you can generate reviews from, and it'll ask them. It'll say, what was your experience? If they rated 1 through 3, then it'll bust out a form that the user can fill out, and hopefully it'll mitigate bad reviews on things like Google and Yelp because they're going to be submitting that information directly to the business owner. Purchase reviews, that's going to be an integration with platforms like WooCommerce and Shopify. And again, we're not going to build out all of these features, off the rip. I mean, we are going to, but to get this application stood up and start generating money, we're going to develop out, the core money making pieces of this application. Some of the easier ones, like the customer review landing page, we'll go ahead and put that in there. But that's another nice thing about the system is I've got all of the core features right here. And so if I just want to build the task list for the pieces that I think I need to get up to get this application making money, that's what I'm going to do. And then after I do that, I'll circle around. I'll start creating the tasks for some of these other things. Flagging and dispute tools, multi-location support, team collaboration, integration hub, connect to CRMs, all that stuff. Contact us page, we're obviously doing that. Pricing page, user registration, all of that stuff we are definitely doing. I thought that we had more in here. Review solicitation collection. Yeah, that's that piece. Review monitoring and analytics. We have that in here. Review tracking. Yeah, we do. Okay, so it did a good job of taking this PRD review response. Yeah, these are business management features. Let's see this monthly location support. Yeah, I put all that in there. Okay, cool. All right, and that was just the execution plan, but that's what we're doing right now. Okay, all right, cool, cool, cool. Okay, so it created those tasks. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reference the overview again. I'm going to ask exactly that. I'm going to say we are. What would you recommend for the next task if we are looking to just get the core features and functionality up and running so we can start getting this application making money, comma, please reference the project overview and the features from the project overview. Let's see what AI does. And while it is doing that, I'm going to take a look at some of the competitors. So, okay. This is more of a all-in-one reputation management platform, review generation. Okay, we're definitely gonna build that aspect out of it. AI purpose built. Oh, that's another piece that we're going to put. I almost forgot about that. That is another piece that we are going to put into this application. Um, so let's see here. What to deprioritize now? Okay, so let's see here. Currently starts. Task 8 to 1 already cover everything needed. Generate $299 per removal. Critical gap. Right now, there's nothing for a subscribed user to do in the app. They can sign up, pay for removal, and sit on nearly empty dashboard and monitoring responses, no analytics. So that is going to be the other part of this application that we're going to be putting together. It's going to be essentially an AI chatbot that will make recommendations to the users to where they can say, okay, I've got this bad review and how should I get it removed? And so this is going to be more for the people that aren't willing to pay $299. We still want them to have something to subscribe to. Um, so, business profile setup. Okay. All right. Okay. So for this, I'm going to say to to address your comments about the critical gap, I want to include additional functionality that we don't currently have in the project overview. What I would like to do is have an AI agent for users that will ask a group of questions, period. This functionality is going to be for users that are not willing to pay $299. They will be able to use the AI agent for a set monthly price. The AI agent will allow them to say things like, I have this negative review on Google. Here is the text of the review, and here is my response. What is the best way to get this review removed? The AI agent at that point will look at all the information provided as well as available information for Google review removal. It will then give the user step-by-step instructions on the best way to get the review removed through Google's automated process. This process is going to be different for each kind of review, as well as the information about the review. Comma, for example, and information that the agent will need to obtain. If the review includes personally identifiable information, it violates Google's terms of service and can be removed on those grounds. Tell me if you understand in the chat what we are trying to accomplish with this functionality. And so again, when you're developing out software like this, the old one-shot approach of, hey, I just want an application that allows users to contact me to get reviews removed, and then I want this other chat agent and blah blah blah. Just doing it one shot, telling the AI, hey, go develop out this application. That's not the way to go about this. The way to go about this is to have a very detailed, thought out plan application, and to be talking to the LLM, the AI agent, getting new ideas, telling it what you want, and then putting that all together in a task list like what we're doing. And then once that is all done, going after it and developing it. It seems like a much longer and more detailed process, but the actuality of it is that once we put this project plan all together, and then start doing the fun part, the actual development of it, it's going to go so much faster. And not only is it going to go so much faster, but you're not going to have to go back and test the functionality and redo a bunch of it. Of course, you're going to have to test the functionality, but there's not going to be as much going back and telling the AI, "Hey, you need to fix this and that and the other, and this isn't what I wanted, and that's what I wanted." Da, da, da. And so, not only is it going to save you a lot of costs as far as tokens that you're going to have to be using, but it's also going to save you a lot of time, and it's also going to vastly improve the quality of the application that you build. Okay, so it's giving me an overview what you're building, a conversational AI removal advisor. And let's see what we're doing here on the stream. I haven't even been looking at this. So we've been live for about an hour and 21 minutes right now. I don't see much in the chat. Let me try doing something. Hey, tell me who you are and why you are watching this stream. So it looks like I've got two viewers here. Okay. Average view duration 29 seconds. That is not very good. But we're doing this so that we can create videos out of it later. Okay, so what you're building, a conversational AI removal advisor, subscription-based agent that turns the $299 done for you service into a DIY guide, serves for users who want to handle the removal themselves. Yep, that sounds good. The flow, users tell the agent about the negative review platform, the review text, their current response. Yep, the agent asks targeted follow-up questions to identify the strongest removal grounds. Yep. Based on everything collected, the agent identifies the correct removal manager. Yep. The intelligence, not generic advice. That looks good. The agent knows the removal process. That looks good. The agent builds the strongest possible case by knowing the information. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so now it's asking me, is this a separate subscription add-on, $19 a month? Okay, so I mean, it pretty much summarized everything that I want out of this. So, yes, this is a separate subscription that we will offer to users that do not want to pay the $299. Um, it will be $19 per month for unlimited messages. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to look at the current functionality of our application. Some of the parts of it, because and this again is one of the reasons that this template functionality is going to be so great, and I'll show you why, an example of that here in a second. But the chat functionality right now, as you can see, we already have a lot of the functionality and features built out, like the ability to choose different models. I don't know if I'm going to allow people to choose different models for this functionality, but the way that we are connecting to different model providers is the way that I'm going to want this functionality to work. So I'm going to say $19 per month for unlimited messages to the AI. Look at the current functionality for this application on the chat page. We are going to integrate with external AI models in the same way using the same SDK. And I will explain what an SDK is here in a second. Should the agent handle all platforms from launch, Google, Yelp, Facebook, Trustpilot? Yes, because it's not going to add too much more complexity and functionality. Should the conversation history be saved so users can come back to? Yes. Yes. Again, look at the current functionality of this application. We are going to do it similar in this new application. I'm going to say first, give me a breakdown in the chat for how you think this would work best. Okay. While that is working, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I want you to look at the template functionality for this application on the library page. I want to create a template and let's see here, AI integrations, AI agents. So, okay, so I already got a skill file for here, so I'm going to reference that. I want to create a template and attach skill file that will instruct an LLM how the chat functionality was built for this application so I can easily duplicate it in other applications. This should cover the chat interface, config, database, tables, and the integration with open law and the user as well as admin settings. I do not want to include any information about the project creation AI functionality. Just the chat interface. Okay, so you go through and do that. And that does that. Okay, so yes, I understand the conversational. Mm, User tells the agent about the negative reviews. The agent asks targeted follow-up questions. Yes, based on everything collected, the agent identifies the correct removal basis. The intelligence. Okay, right. Business model impact. Okay, data knowledge. Okay, is that accurate? Yes. $19 a month. Yes, yes. Okay. How it works. The core architecture, exactly the same stack as the existing chat page and system prompts. The agent's intelligence lives entirely in the system prompt. Oh, that reminds me of something else that we need to do here. Role definitions. Okay. Okay. The output format. Okay. Okay. And for like really complex projects like this, you can read through it in the chat. You can see kind of what it's going through. One question I do have is, what do you think the most user friendly interface is going to be for this functionality? Because the way I'm kind of seeing this in my mind is that it's going to ask the questions that it needs answered in kind of a step by step fashion. And then that context of those answers are going to have to be fed back into the AI when it's generating the answer of how to do that. So, what do you think the most user friendly interface is going to be for this functionality? We need to answer a set of questions and then provide that context to the model for when they uh, generate answer for the best process of removal. Okay, so it's going through and it's creating these skills files. Chat interface. Which is good because we need this we need these skills files in here, and it's creating both the .agent folder and the .cursor folder. And the reason that I have a .agent folder is because that is what Google Anti-Gravity uses. I use both editors. I like Cursor better right now, but that could change at any point in time. Okay, so what it's going to do is it's going to create that file, then it's going to create the template here. And so what I will be doing as well is I will be making these templates available to everyone. So if you want to use one of these templates in here for building your own application, you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to do that pretty easily. So let's see here. Um, the core architecture. Okay. What you're okay. For some reason it bounces back up to the previous answer. Okay. Option one, pure conversational chat. The AI asks questions one by one, back and forth chat. The problem users have to go through 4 to 6 messages to provide basic content for blah, blah, blah. Option two, structured intake form, a short multi-step form that collects the information up front. Okay, this is the right approach. Okay, okay. Intake wizard. Okay. I like that. So we're going to do an intake wizard. But what I want to make sure, okay, so yeah, that sounds good. I want to make sure we are creating a database table that will be used to both record the user's answers, comma, provide context, and provide an ability for the user to track the negative reviews that they want removed and for actually seeing if those reviews are removed. We want to make sure that we are asking for a link to the review on the platform in question. Yeah, yeah, I like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back over to Opus. I'm going to make a note that task 8 switch. I'm going to do an analysis and let you guys know what I think about the different models. Okay, so fields, stats life cycle. Okay, that looks good. And grow. Okay, I like that. All the intake fields. Okay. So let's see what task we are on right now. You're right. I hate having too many tabs open up. Okay, so we're on task 8. And again, you don't need to say, okay, let's create task 9. You can if you want, but these enumerated tasks are done automatically in ProVibes. Um, and again, yes, that is our application. That's my application. And so if you have suggestions or recommendations or things that you find would help you in development more, please go ahead and ask. Okay, so sounds good. Let's go ahead and create this task along with its sub task to create the functionality later. And I'm going to reference this task ring skill again. Hope you at it. All right. See what's going on here. The signed URL is relative to the upload record failed. Let me fix this with the correct URL. So what this is doing is it's basically writing a script to be able to upload to the database. I'm going to tell it. Okay, so it completed it. Okay. I'm going to tell it to create a skill, and that's another good point as far as the utilization of skills. Is it just went through this long, massive process to create this new skill, and so I wanted to create another skill that tells it how to do everything that it just did, so it doesn't have to go through trial and error and everything that it looks like it did. Currently. currently, if we look over here, we've got skill creator. That is more telling it what information and everything. Skill import. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, I'm just going to talk to it like I would a person. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to drag these two over in here. And I need a new freaking mouse. Okay. I want you to look at these two skills. Uh, I want you to tell me if we should create a new skill that instructs you how to do all the things you just did to create new skills from a GitHub repo or other external source. Because I don't want to. In the future, if I have another, link to a skill in a repo, instead of having to do all that, I want to just grab the link, give it to my AI agent, say, look at this skills file, and go ahead and execute the functionality that I'm looking for. Okay, so this is again one of our competitors. That is another piece of functionality that we're going to do is we are going to have a system to where the business can just create their business listing once and it will push it to all the business listing platforms. But for that, we're going to use some kind of white label provider. We're not going to build out all that functionality into our application. And the reason is, you're just talking about all these different APIs. You're talking about it's a massive amount of functionality. Even if I were to use AI with it and code everything out with AI, I would say something like that would probably take about a month working 8 hours a day, which is incredible because five 5 years ago it would take 6 months, maybe longer, to do something like that, working 8 hours a day. So, anyways, that is actually I kind of want to check that out real quick. White label um, business listing. Well, review management. Let's see what this has got. Our online reputation management software. Your digital agency's secret marketing. And you know what? I mean, that's another thing that I want to do with this application is provide white label functionality to where other companies can just rebrand our application, generate the subscribers, and we'll split the revenue. Centric insights, reputation management solution, streamlined client management, automated feedback. Okay, add your clients' customers easily, automate process. One thing that just a huge pet peeve of mine is when companies do not have. Okay, so this is a bird's eye that we were looking at. Yeah, when companies do not have pricing information, I just I think is ridiculously stupid. I don't know why you wouldn't just list your prices on the website, like, okay, contact a sales agent. Why? Why am I contacting the sales agent so he can try to get me to agree as high of a price as possible? Why not just put it on your website? So, we're definitely going to be on our application's website. I think book a demo, that's a little less aggravating to me, but still, I would rather just have an application where I'm looking for a white label solution. I come to the page, it says, $10 per user per month. Here, you can sign up and start creating your white label application. Again, pricing here. All right, so let's see what this says. OS pricing, startup, ideal for agencies or small client. No, this is not bad. Oh, I'm liking this. Sign up. All right, so I'm gonna bookmark this. Um, choose my folder. Um, My goal is to post this whole thing as a playlist on YouTube. And you guys are gonna watch me build this $1 million company in real time. Review management, we'll do white label. Save that. I like it. I like it. Let me look. Rocket Driver, never heard of them. Function management software. And then the other thing, obviously, we can do is we can come over here to like a grok and we can say, I am looking for a business listing management software that has a white label option with an API and preferably $10 or less per user per month. Give me a table with all the options with pricing comparison. If, um, you know, and with AI answers now, yes, search engine optimization is extremely crucial. But in addition to that, both for business reviews and for business listings, like we're looking at, and for our own application and the software, it is incredibly important to be able to get into AI answers like this. So let's go back over here and let's see where we're at now. Okay, my recommendation, yes, create a new skill, but scope it specifically. Okay. Mm, Okay. Uh, okay. Let's create the skill in in forward slash. Okay, and that's for our functionality. And then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to create that skill in our platform. So you guys will be able to use that skill in the future to kind of duplicate this type of chat functionality in applications. I tried for this chat functionality in this application, I tried to make it as kind of comprehensive as possible as far as you being able to see all your chat history. You can rename the chat history, so you can rename that to whatever you want. You can delete specific chat history. You can configure it. I've got a wide range of different models in here that you can select from, including OpenClaw. And then, you can, but I want it to be as kind of straightforward and easy to use as possible at the same time. Okay. So this is going to kind of be the last thing that we do in this live stream session. Unified review case table. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Mm, okay. Task. Okay. Yep, 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 yep. Okay. So it says we got that done. Let's check it out. And task nine, error removal advisory. Okay. So that right there is looking pretty good as far as the core technology. One other thing that I want to do is I want you to look at the admin settings functionality of this application. And I want to create a task for creating the same type of admin settings table settings page for this application. However, we only want to include admin settings options applicable to this application. We do things like project creation. Okay, so what it's going to do is the same kind of functionality that I have for this application. It's going to create a task for recreating that functionality in this new application. It's going to create a table. So in this application, we've got an admin settings table that's got an option key, option value, all this good stuff. And, instead of having to go through and explain to the LLM how to create this functionality again, how to create this page with all the different admin settings and options. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to look at the existing functionality that I've already done, create a task out of it, and then at that point, what I'm going to do with both the chat functionality and the admin settings is I'm going to create a template out of that. Just like we've got this template right here. Um, and so we've got the AI chat interface. That is a template. It's got a skills file attached to it, which shows all of the information, and that's saying field with the file. So we'll figure out why that is doing that. Um, and then, so going forward, I'll just be able to say reference this template in the same way we did with the Stripe subscription for the AI chat interface or for the admin settings. And let's see. So we told it to admin settings table. Okay, it's got that. It's got the first subtask and the subtasks. Okay, so that's obviously still working. I'm going to come back over here. Skill publish library. Okay, so that is the skill that tells it how to add skills. Okay. Into we need to fix the issue in the application for this template. When I click on the view icon for the skill.md file, it is showing an error skill file not found. We need to fix this and also update the skill, publish library skill so that we do not have this issue in the future. And what I'm actually going to do as well is I'm going to come back over here, I'm going to click on the view icon, and then I am going to get a screenshot of this, which this is just an extension you can download. I'm going to come back over here and I'm just going to paste that. Ah, shit, it's still recording my voice. Oh, shit. Okay. So I'm going to paste that image in here and I'm going to let that work. And again, this is the beauty of AI. Being able to do this, while I'm doing, three or four other things, I can come over to this, to this conversation. I can say, hey, I noticed this error. Here's what the error looks like. Go ahead and fix it for me. And then I can come back to this one right here. The six settings section for this application: names, tagline, theme, primary color, okay, pricing, billing, AI. Okay, that all looks good. Um, Now, the other thing that I'm going to do with this is I'm going to come back over to the application. I'm going to say, hey, look at this group of tasks, or this task with its subtasks. Admin settings subtask. I'm going to copy this ID and then I'm going to have it create a template out of that, which you will be able to do too using the MCP server. What I'm going to say is I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to say, take a look at these tasks. Here's the task ID. I want you to create a template on ProVibes out of this functionality so that you know how to recreate it in the future. And so that'll be good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream here. We've been going for quite a while, about 2 hours now. But we've got a real good base, real good foundation for creating this application. We're not quite done with the task generation yet. There's a few more tasks that I'm going to want to add in there probably before we get started actually building out the application. Let me think about it. But, at the same time, next live stream, we may just start building this thing out. Okay, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you get notified the next time we do a live stream, and you can continue to follow along in this build process. Learn how to create applications with AI the right way, learn the best practices, how to streamline your development, how to do just about anything and everything you will need to do to develop professional applications. All right, thanks, guys.